Alright guys, so before we get into this video, I just have a couple of things I want to go over with you guys. First, I want to give a shout out to all of my Patreons. Without you, these videos just wouldn't exist. I really appreciate all of you guys. And we actually have 2 new Patreons this time around, so we are on the up and coming, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. Mad shout out to Maximum657 as well as Callum Cosins. You guys are nothing less of amazing. Now, I'm actually going to have to start making some honorary Patreons because these are the people that don't necessarily donate to the Patreon or, aren't pledged to the Patreon, but still do make strides to support this channel. So I'm really going to start working on something like that for you guys, the people that want to support the channel but can't necessarily do it monetary wise, because I do appreciate you guys as well. Another thing I want to talk about is that we are having a tournament which will be tomorrow. That's right, an 8-man flight, and the winner will receive something special. It will be live streamed tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That will be the start of the tournament. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and join a free tournament in where you guys get to be on stream, and more than likely there might be a stream highlight with your shout out in it, as well as receive a prize for the winner. Our last prize winner was Falcon17, and he is doing awesome. He's definitely going to be in there if you guys at the very least want bragging rights and to knock him off of his throne. So with all that being said, let me just go ahead and get into the video. Looking at these decks side by side, Furhire and Vampire both are extremely really good decks, and I really think that Vampires do have it in the attack category, obviously, and also kind of lose it in the defense category, but the power is really where it comes up. Vampires have the amazing recovery where Furhires just have the ultimate power to be able to disrupt the opponent. I think that this game is going to come down to a wire. Spoiler alert, it actually does come down to the wire, and a couple of mistakes were made, but that's just how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is. If you guys are expecting to see a perfect Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game where everything is upheld, then you might want to go to, well, there isn't a single place because even YCS streams don't have it, but I think that this will be a really interesting game, so let's jump into the video so I can show you how awesome it is. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so this epic match between Furhire and Vampire has been long awaited. The Dark Savior set has unleashed 2 incredibly good decks, and I think it is a for sure bet to be the next competition in your local level event. Do you get it? For sure and next. No, nobody gets it. All right, so Z-Man is going to win the die roll, and he's going to start off first, and I don't think he necessarily, obviously, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I don't think he opens up with the best of boards. I think he could have made a better board, but that's here nor there. I don't know the rest of his hands. I don't know the rest of his plan, so he's going to start off with Unizombie on his side of the field to send a vampire or a zombie monster from his deck to his graveyard, and this time around it's going to be Vampire Retainer, my apologies. A really important card to the strategy. Basically what it does is that he can send a vampire monster from his hand to the graveyard to special summon itself, and then when it's special summoned, he can add a vampire spell or trap card from his deck to his hand, and he's going to add Vampire's Domain. Let's go ahead and highlight Vampire's Domain really quick. It's a really good card. It's probably the best vampire spell in our arsenal. Basically at the cost of 500 life points, it's a Nightmare Goblin. It's a Brilliant Fusion Seraphonite. It is an additional normal summon to your side of the field for a vampire monster. Another great thing about this is that it is the backbone of the deck. When a vampire monster inflicts damage to your opponent, you get to gain that damage. So not only does it mitigate the cost for paying for your vampire card's effects, it also allows you to gain an additional summon, something so needed for the vampire archetype. So Z-Man's definitely thinking about his board. I wish that there was a playable level 6 zombie monster. If the only thing I can think of is the Dark Ruler Hades zombie version monster, but I think it requires Plague Spreader Zombie as a material. The reason why I say this is because he could use his Vampire Retainer plus his Unizombie as a synchro summon to a level 6 zombie monster, and then trigger his Vampire Grace, special summoning at to a side of the field at the cost of 2,000 life points. Now I know that might seem heavy, but Charge Warrior, I'm sorry, the zombie monster should have a Charge Warrior like effect, which allows him to draw a card, and then the Vampire Grace with the level 6 zombie would make a Beatrice, and Beatrice is an extremely powerful card for this vampire archetype, and the reason behind it is because it allows you to send cards like Mizuki, it allows you to send vampire cards you need to your graveyard, but even more importantly, it gives you disruption on your opponent's turn inside of a Farfa, as well as the ability to make Dante Pilgrim to your side of the field. So I thought that that would be really good, and Xander's obviously taking his sweet old time figuring out what board he's going to make. He's going to follow up with Vampire Desires, sending the Retainer to the graveyard, actually eventually Retainer would get banished, but sending the Retainer to the graveyard to special summon the Vampire Grace to his side of the field, and I'm not a huge fan. Again, I am not a fan of this board. He's going to activate Vampire's Desires, or Domain, and then set a card face down. I'm not a fan of that board. It's very lackluster. I think he could have done a better board, but again, I don't know his hand. I'm going to start off with Furhire Hellsman, ready to give the opponent hell because it gives an additional normal summon, but it is lost to the Vampire Domination. And let's go ahead and highlight this Vampire Domination card. It is extraordinarily powerful, being able to negate a spell, trap, or monster. And then if it did negate a spell or a monster, you get to gain that monster's life points. Now, unfortunately for Z-Man, the Hellsman has 0 attack, so he'll gain 0 to his life points. And that doesn't necessarily come up at that particular time, but being able to gain life points as a part of, you know, just your normal wear and tear, you know, go here and about, for your vampire strategy is a lot better than what people think. I think that people do underestimate the value of gaining life points, especially if it isn't a card directly used to gain life points. If it is a card that is like an Infernity Barrier and then gives you life points as a cherry on top. He's going to go ahead and use Unizombi's effect again, and that's going to send Vampire Familiar to send Duke from his hand to the graveyard to summon Familiar back to his side of the field, and then Familiar is going to go ahead and add Shadow Vampire from his deck to his hand. Now, I'm thinking he can do some really good damage, but since he already sent the Vampire Duke and he added Shadow Vampire, in order for him to combo off, he has to not summon Shadow Vampire or summon Shadow Vampire and not use his effect. Doesn't really seem that good. He's going to use both the level 1 Vampire Familiar and the Unizombie for a link summon of Vampire Sucker, and it looks like he's going to go off. Is he? No, he's going to tribute the Grace to summon the Shadow Vampire, then activate Shadow Vampire's effect. It's probably going to summon Scarlet Scourge to his side of the field, so if it is summoned, we just might have another card to highlight. Yes, he is going to summon Scarlet Scourge to his side of the field, so let's go ahead and highlight Vampire Scarlet Scourge. What it does is when it is normal summoned or special summoned, he gets to special summon a vampire monster from his graveyard to his side of the field. Also, when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, that monster can be special summoned to your side of the field. So these vampire monsters are extremely dangerous from the Dark Savior set, and I think that these two decks are just amazing, really good. He's going to inflict that 2200 damage. He can't attack with any of his other monsters, mainly because of, again, the Shadow Vampire only allowing him to attack with the monster that he summoned. And then on top of that, even though on top of that, Scarlet Scourge only allows him to attack with that, or I'm sorry, it allows the monster that is summoned not to attack. So he's in a pretty bad situation in that aspect, but he's still able to make the Beatrice, and this time right under a Vampire Sucker. I don't want to stress how powerful Beatrice is, because now he's going to use the Beatrice effect to detach one material to send Mizuki from his deck to his graveyard. Mizuki's effect is going to activate its effect, and then that's going to trigger his Vampire Sucker all in one. So now he gets the Unizombie back to his side of the field and draw a card, and now he's going to use the Shadow Vampire and the Unizombie to open up with our combo board. Now, if you guys want to see the Vampire deck profile, you might want to click on this link right here. So that deck profile is pretty awesome. I think we did make some modifications to the deck. If we did, they're going to be changed inside of the description, and if we didn't, they're going to be exactly where they are. Really hope you guys appreciate that. So go ahead and give this video a like, because I did drop some knowledge. I'll also leave the Vampire link down below in the description. So Cypher Lord Omega, Beatrice, and Vampire Sucker all on Z-Man's side of the field. He's going to use Omega preemptively to banish a card from my hand, and that's not necessarily one of the greatest things. He could have had that Mizuki with control, being able to bring Mizuki back from his graveyard or from his banish zone back to his deck or to his graveyard to use for a later turn use, and still be able to disrupt cards from my hand. I'm going to go ahead and draw, and I'm going to normal summon Beat Bladesman for hire. Let's go ahead and highlight Beat Bladesman, because it's such a powerful card. Even though it's going to get banished by Beatrice's effect, the ability to special summon a Furhire, or when a Furhire monster is special summoned to your side of the field, to search a Furhire monster from your deck to your hand, as well as the ability to special summon Furhire monsters. It basically not only can trigger his own effect, he does so many great things. Now, Hellsman's going to use his effect to discard Dampa, and then it's going to summon another, I believe, Recon to my side of the field, and then that's going to activate another one of my Furhire monsters to add a monster from the graveyard to the hand. So the Furhire monsters are really good. They're extraordinarily good at creating a board, creating that advantage that you might need to get off your effects. Now, let's go ahead and highlight one of the best cards in the deck. And I'm telling you guys, one of the best cards, he is horribly great. Rafael Champion for Hire is amazing. So basically, you get the excavate cards from your deck equal to the number of other for hire monsters on your field when it is special summoned, and then you get to add one of those cards from your deck to your hand. That is nothing less of phenomenal. Now, I did make some changes to the for hire build, and that deck profile will be right there. Go ahead and click on that annotation as well, and that'll take you to the for hire deck. Unfortunately, the changes that I made to this specific build I do pay for it, so I'll be able to tell you guys a little bit before. I was going to spoil it for you guys, but you'll see where I pay for it. I'm going to use 3 monsters for a link summon, and you never would think I'd do something that spicy with the type of board, but I got to break my opponent's board. No, I'm going to use 4 monsters, oh my gosh, for the Borlo Braggin. The Borlo Braggin is such a great card. Then activating the World Legacy card to special summon my Rafael back to my side of the field. Now, was that a mistake? We're going to find out, I guess. I don't think it was much of a mistake at the time. You got to break your opponent's board or your opponent will break you. So Z-Man's going to draw, and now he's going to get his Cypher Emerald Omega back to his side of the field, which means I also get my Beat Bladesman for hire back to my side of the field, and it's not necessarily the best time to get Beat to your side of the field because, you know, it's a beater, kind of can't, like, do anything with it. You can't special summon monsters in your opponent's turn, or at least not with the hand that I have right now. So it's just basically a sitting, well, I would say a sitting bunny, but that would be too punny, would it? It's a sitting duck on the side of the field, and Z-Man does still have his Vampire Domain as well as his Cypher Emerald Omega, so this game could get a little ugly. I mean, I think that it could get vampiric too if you're not pure enough, but he's going to go ahead and follow up with another Unizombie back to his side of the field. I'm going to go ahead and negate with Rafael, basically saying, hey, Z, if you can't follow up with this, then I'm going for it, man. I don't think you can do this, and if you can't, you're probably going to pay for it. I don't think there's much else we can do about this. So Z's definitely thinking about his options. He's going to go ahead and normal summon Vampire Familiar. I'm trying to figure out how did he get 2 normal summons. Okay, no, he's going to use Domain, paying 500 life points to normal summon Vampire Familiar, and that's going to get Nightmare Cerebus to his side of the field. He's going to discard a Shiranui Solitaire, and he's going to be able to destroy a monster on the field, possibly Rafael, possibly Beatrice, possibly Beat, but he can't destroy Borlo Braggin because Borlo Braggin is really good. He can't be targeted by card effects, and he can reduce the attack of your opponent's monsters. So I don't know. Borlo Dragon is just a really powerful card, and you'll see that card come up throughout the entirety of the match. So now Z-Man thinking about what he can do with his next play. He's already used his Nightmare Cerebus, and he's just going to go ahead and pass his turn to get over the Beatrice, the Eternal Lady, or Izzy. I think he meant to attack that Beat Bladesman for hire, so we're just going to go ahead and send it to the graveyard and reduce that damage. I think I used Borlo, actually I know I used Borlo Dragon to reduce Cypher Emerald Omega's attack to reduce the damage of that. Now Cypher Emerald Omega is a 2300 attack monster. So now, back to my turn, figuring out what I'm going to do. Z-Man, I'm pretty sure on my turn, he's going to want to use Cypher Emerald Omega to shuffle or to place a monster from his Banish Zone back into his graveyard. So then he'll be able to resummon a monster with Mizuki or resummon one of his vampire monsters to his side of the field to continuously gain advantage. I think that's what he's debating on, which one of the 3 monsters he wants to send to the graveyard. As you guys can see, I'm going to draw for turn. Send the Beatrice to the graveyard. My apologies. Maybe I'm a little bit ahead of my time, but he's going to put the Mizuki back into his graveyard and then follow up with some really good things on his next turn. We're going to be able to see them very soon. I'm legitimately sitting here trying to think, did I just draw 2 cards and get away with it? I'm not 100% sure. You guys might have to rewatch that, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get some, I mean, we're going to get that no matter what. It could be a perfect game, and somebody's going to complain. But we're going to go ahead and summon the Beat effect to special summon, but not before Cypher Emerald Omega chains its effect to stop me. And then I'm just going to go ahead and attack and control the Cerebus and attack with all of my monsters on my side of the field. This is the bad thing about For Hire. This is what I hate so much about For Hire, is that if you don't have Beat, you're not doing great. So Cypher Emerald Omega is going to return to his side of the field and return the monster from my deck to my hand. I felt that if I had For Hire monsters to work better with, then this match would have been a lot different. Any of the other For Hire monsters would have been great. And Z-Man's going to use the Mizuki to summon Scorch, to summon Grace. He's also going to get his Omega back. So he's in a good position right now. I don't really have anything to stop his board particularly. So he's in a very good position to make a counter board right now. And I think missing the beat Bladesman for hire was probably one of the hugest things for the deck, because then I would have got Raphael, or I would have been able to get into the monster to pursue some damage. It's almost like you had to make Borreload. There was no choice between it. So maybe this deck is just restrictive to the advantage that he has. He's going to go ahead and summon Scarlet Scourge. I'm sorry, not Scarlet Scourge, Damfear. Let's go ahead and highlight Damfear to his side of the field because it has so many great properties. I don't think Z noticed how powerful he was. So once per turn, you can detach one material to target one face-up card on the field and send it to the graveyard. If you sent the monster, you can detach another material to special summon it to your side of the field. So Damfear is pretty good. And the fact that, oh, so it looks like he did go ahead and take it through the effects of Damfear. Never mind. It looks like Z-Man was knowing exactly how it was going down. So 3 monsters on his side of the field. If he can put a 4th monster, he can actually break the Borreload Bragon. I'm trying to figure out how he can do that. If he can do that, yes, he's just going to go ahead and normal summon Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That would be a good way to make a Borreload Dragon of himself. And then use the Borreload Dragon to attack the Borreload Dragon, and then Borreload Dragon to attack the Furhire Recon, which wouldn't really do much because Borreload Dragon can't be targeted anyways. But this is not a great situation for the Furhire strategy to be in. Borreload Dragon is a very deadly card, and with so many with the deck so low on resources right now, it just doesn't seem like the greatest position to be in. Again, maybe if Furhire would have held his position, held those cards in his hand, maybe it would have been different, but I really wasn't expecting Vampires to have this type of recovery. Ultimately, that's going to be the game. Vampires made a board that Furhires just couldn't beat. That double Borreload Dragon just too strong, and the ability to not be targeted is another thing. So going into game 2, Vampires have forced that game 2 pretty easily. Can Furhires turn around and force back that game 1? And again, I think that both of these decks are really fun to play. They're just really awesome to be played around. I'm going to go ahead and summon Beat Bladesman to summon Hellsman to my side of the field. It's going to get Ash Blossom, and then I'm just going to go ahead and summon my monster. Now, I think what I could have done better is after I summon Beat to summon Hellsman, and then Hellsman to summon Raphael, and then I could actually use both of those monsters' effect to dodge the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. But I kind of realized that mid-game, like actually towards the end of the game, like, oh, that's how I can avoid Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. That's pretty cool. Z-Man's going to follow up with Armageddon Knight. Armageddon Knight to send a vampire monster from his deck to his graveyard if it is allowed to go through. No, actually, I negated it with a Raphael, so he's going to use it to attack over Beat. And again, losing Beat it's pretty insane. So Raphael's going to attack over the Armageddon Knight, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pass my turn. Back to the Vampires, he has to make a board. Hellsman is 0 attack, but Raphael is still a pretty scary card. And it's going to be attacking right into Z-Man's resources. He's going to banish a Raphael. I'm going to set a face down card and then special summon Raphael back to my side of the field. And again, it's not looking nice for Z-Man at all. He's staring down at a 2800 attack monster that can negate monster effects. So not looking good at all. I don't know what Z-Man can do. He's going to have to make something to break this board. So Raphael's going to go ahead and attack directly again for 2800 damage. 3 cards face down. I'm pretty sure at least one of them is an active card to stop what he has. Z-Man's going to follow up with a monster defense. And I'm going to activate Monster Reborn to special summon Beat back to my side of the field. Then use Raphael and Hellsman to link summon into an Underclock Taker. Okay, this is getting spicy. This is getting saucy. And then Mayhem to bring back, that's right, Raphael, triggering both Beat and Raphael's effects, being able to search and add a card or excavate a card and add it to my hand. So that was a pretty cheeky combo. And if it was under the Underclock Taker and the opponent had a monster on the side of the field, yeah, it would be pretty much it for Z, or that monster would be pretty big. So I'm going to set some face downs, and I don't think that I wasn't fearing the Vampire's back row, so of course my monsters are going to attack. He's going to special summon his Fraulein to his side of the field, and I'm debating on if I want to let that through. Do I really want to leave him with Fraulein on his side of the field? I'm not 100% sure about that Fraulein. Maybe I can use that advantage to break the board that he already has, because I feel if I don't break this Fraulein, then it might be really problematic for me in the future. He's going to go ahead and activate Domination after I try to get over or use Beat's effect to special summon to my side of the field. So now I'm like, okay, maybe we can do something with this. I'm going to go ahead and normal summon a monster to my side of the field, and then special summon Dampa Dampa is going to go ahead and special summon Beat again for my hand to my side of the field, and that's going to destroy Frolin. So now not only do I have a pretty nice board, I have a way to out Frolin, which is just really good. So it looks like Fur Hire are going to be for sure winning this game. I don't think that there's anything higher than making that board right now, and that's exactly what it's going to be forced. Vampires are forced to retreat back into their coffin. So entering the game 3 that everybody wants to see, I wasn't expecting these two decks to go at it so hard. I think that Fur Hire is a lot better than what you guys have seen in the last 2 games, and also think that Vampires are as well. I want to see what deck do you guys think is the best. Go ahead and post down below in the comment section, what is the better deck between Fur Hire and Vampires inside of the Dark Savior set. And I swear, if I see somebody say Sky Striker, I don't like you no more. I mean, we already know how good Sky Strikers are. We want to see how the other 2 decks fare, because they do seem like decks that can, if they continue to get support, they'll be able to rival Sky Striker very soon. So Z-Man's probably going to go ahead and choose to go first. If I remember correctly, I opened one of the most awkward hands in this deck. He's going to summon Unizombie. I'm going to go ahead and Ash Blossom the Unizombie's effect. He's going to use Unizombie's effect to pitch from the hand to give it a level. And I'm like, how does this man have this stuff? And then he's going to go ahead and special summon Vampire Familiar to his side of the field by pitching Duke. Duke is going to, or then Familiar is going to add Domination. I'm like, maybe I should have Ash Blossomed that. Maybe I should have stopped that. That probably would have been a little better to stop inside of this game. He's going to activate Domain. And Domain 500 life points to summon Shadow Vampire to his side of the field. So it looks like he's going to be able to make his board no matter what I have done. And I'm not necessarily regretting the Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring. I thought that was the best decision at the time. But now that I look at his board, if I would have Ash Blossom Enjoy Spring to Shadow Vampire, the only thing he would have been able to do is make Omega and pass or something like that. He's going to go ahead and get Duke or Scourge out to get Duke to his side of the field. And that's going to set him up with a very, very nice board. So now he has 4 monsters on his side of the field. 1 being Unizombie, 1 being Shadow, 1 being Duke, and 1 being Scarlet Scourge. And unfortunately for him, his Unizombie is level 4. So he couldn't even use its effects to make a Cypher Emerald Omega, but it looks like he's still going to be able to make some type of play. Hoping that he's going to, figure out what he's going to do pretty soon. We're looking at towards the end of this Vampire game. I think that this deck still is pretty batty. No, that's probably in its blood. Anyways, he's going to go ahead and use both of his monsters for a Vampire Sucker. Both the Scarlet Scourge and the Unizombie. No, maybe having second thoughts possibly. I think that might be his only course of action, because both Unizombie and Scarlet Scourge are the awkward levels, where Duke and Shadow Vampire are pretty restrictive in their effects, only being able to special summon Dark Exceed monsters. So he's in a bit of a conundrum. Really interested to see what he's going to make with those said monsters. It looks like he's going to be using Duke. No, not Duke. He's definitely thinking about what he's doing. I know he wants to make the Beatrice. Anybody in their mind, in my opinion, wants to make the Beatrice Vampire Sucker, but it doesn't look like it's in the realm of possibility for this deck, unless he had like a Vampire Desires or something. It looks like he's still thinking, one of those grandmas that like to think for a long time. Z-Man, shout out to you, man. I appreciate your thinking. Good thought is what make good boards. And it looks like, yes, he's going to use both the initial monsters used for a Vampire Sucker, and then follow up with Duke and Shadow Vampire to make Crimson Bram. Now, he did send Beat to the graveyard through the effect of Bam, and now he's going to use Bram's effect to special summon Beat. And here's where I start reading it. I'm like, okay, so this card actually special summons from the graveyard. I'm thinking. I'm probably going to make one of the most impactful decisions of this game. This one interaction is going to have a huge, and when I mean huge, I mean huge impact. I'm reading Beat. I'm like, I kind of need that Beat. Do I beat it? Get it? Do I beat it to keep the Beat in my graveyard? Beat it. Get it? Beat it. So I'm going to go ahead and read the Beat again. Not really satisfied with the play. Reading the Bram again. Really stuck with this decision, taking as much time as Grandma himself. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and drop one of the most powerful cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm going to go ahead and drop Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Now, at that time, the card keeping Beat in my graveyard was extremely pivotal. I can tell you guys right now, he sent that card from my deck to my graveyard, and I needed a Beat. So he literally sent the card that I needed, and I needed it in my graveyard. But here's the thing, my 6th card was Beat. And I'm like, boy, if my 6th card wasn't Beat, I would have held on to the Ghost. If any of my cards were Beat, I would have held on to the Ghost Bell. And you know, I would have used the Ghost Bell to prevent the Brams of the field. I could have done so many other things with the Ghost Bell, but I felt my hand was not good. In order for me to capitalize on it, I needed the beat to go off, and you know, I just so happened to draw the beat. So unfortunately, I traded one card for another, being able to special summon beat in exchange for drawing a beat or a Ghost Bell inside. And then I'm going to be able to use Beat's effect to search Raphael. And then Hellsman can summon Raphael to my side of the field, and Raphael is a champion. Raphael's effect is going to be able to excavate too. With that, I think I'm going to add Dampa to my hand, then shuffle the rest into my deck. So I do have a little bit of advantage with these cards. I am starting to gain enough to break my opponent's board. And his board isn't like extremely powerful, but it is a powerful board nonetheless. Having a Bram being able to continuously summon itself back to the side of the field, then a Vampire Sucker that can continuously gain advantage by, you know, giving him draw opportunities. So I think that that's pretty decent. Furhire is definitely looking at what they can do Exceed-wise. And I'm not 100% sure what I could do. I still do have a couple of awesome tricks up my sleeve. Actually, now I think about it, that Retcon was supposed to be Dampa himself. Their effects are confusing, or their looks are pretty confusing when you first look at them. So I switch out the Dampa for the Retcon, and you know, I'm gonna go ahead and Mayhem for hire the Dampa, and then Dampa to special summon Retcon to my side of the field. Retcon to destroy a face-up card. I'm thinking about what I'm gonna destroy. I'm going to destroy the Vampire Sucker. No, I'm going to destroy the Domain, one of the more powerful cards. Then I'm going to use both Dampa and Retcon for an Exceed material. Now, for the people that did see the deck profile, you guys did not see me play Sendeyu inside of this deck. Somebody actually mentioned it down below in the comment section, and you were the reason why I was like, huh, this card is strong. Being able to special summon a 2800 attack token to break his board, I feel like I'm in a pretty good position. Unfortunately, my Furhire monsters don't really do much. I'm definitely considering dropping Hellsman down to 2 or 1 and upping the Retcon and Dampas, because those monsters are critical. They allow you to make Sendeyus, which Sendeyus can be a pretty powerful card, especially seeing that you don't use your extra monster zone. So that would probably be the thing that I would change inside of the Furhire deck. This deck doesn't have a lot of destruction, so you do pay for it again. He's going to activate Vampire Desire, sending his monsters to the graveyard to special summon Scourge. I'm going to go ahead and negate the Scourge, so Scourge won't be able to special summon. Then he's going to follow up with Unizombie to send a card from his deck to the graveyard. And now that you think about it, Scourge, I don't think Scourge would have done anything. He's going to summon the Unizombie to send Mizuki, and I'm like, oh my god, how many Unizombies are you going to open? I know you run 3 plus the 2 Solitaire, but are you going to open Unizombie every game? Like, man, this was annoying. He's going to summon Mizuki, or send Mizuki from his deck to the graveyard, and I'm thinking, this is my board right here. I really don't have another way to make a different board. Mizuki's in his graveyard, and Vampires are showing you guys this awesome recovery that this deck has. It's just really powerful. So he's going to use the Scourge to attack, possibly. No, he's going to increase the level of Scourge through Unizombie's effect. That was with the sending from the deck to the graveyard. He was just verifying, I assume. And then he's going to... How did he get Duke to his side of the field? I'm very interested. He's going to banish the Mizuki to summon the Duke. Duke's going to send a spell card from my deck to my graveyard. I'm going to go ahead and send Scapegoat, because I want to draw into that Pot of Desires. And then he's going to use both his monsters for a synchro summon to Cypher and load Omega again into the extra monster zone. And now Omega can get over Beat, because, you know, I really hate the fact that Beat is just that powerless against him. So Z is going to be able to break my board. He didn't use the Scarlet Scourge to special summon Hellsman back to my side of the field, which was a little bit interesting. I wonder why he didn't necessarily do that. And, you know, I'm not 100% sure why I did this, but I went straight to battle, attacked the Omega into my monster. I'm not 100% sure if I could have attacked for game. I possibly could have attacked for game had I just summoned this Sendeyu and then let him trigger off for his Omega. Because if he uses the Omega, then he loses a monster. I have 2 total. Actually, I would have been able to go for game. So this looks like a huge mistake on Furhire's part. But it almost doesn't matter, does it? It looks like Z-Man's going to go ahead and activate Foolish Burial, possibly send Mizuki from his deck to his graveyard. I'm not 100% sure what he do. Yep, Ash Blossom is going to be met for the Foolish Burial. Looks like this game is over. It looks like Furhire still have the advantage anyways. Is there anything Z-Man can do? Yes, there is. He's actually, what does it look like he's doing? I'm not 100% sure on what he's going to be doing. No cards in Furhire's hand, so Raphael doesn't have a negate. But it looks like he's going to banish Mizuki that was already in his graveyard. No, it looks like Mizuki was already in his graveyard. 2 special summon Scarlet Scourge. Did not see the Mizuki at all. Scarlet Scourge's effect is going to activate and then that's gonna go ahead and special summon Vampire Sucker. Now, was that a dirty deal? You know, I guess it is what it is. Sometimes you just don't see those certain things. I'm not sure if I would have, you know, negated the Vampire Sucker had it been for, my apologies, had it not, had I seen the Mizuki, but it is what it is. Z-Man's now going to normal summon Ash Blossom, enjoy his spring, and then summon Borolo Dragon. I told you guys this monster would make another appearance in this game. Borolo Dragon to attack over the Raphael. No, it's going to snatch the Raphael, and then it's going to attack into the Ash Blossom, enjoy his spring. Now, the crazy thing is if I draw Pot of Desires, which I actually did, and then I draw 2 monsters, I can make a Borolo Dragon of my own and swing this game back into my favor. But it's really exciting to see the recovery of zombies. It looks like vampires have not, if you don't capitalize on the mistakes, which Vampire did do, Fur Hires made a huge mistake. I made a huge mistake. I think I could have won that game that turn, but it looks like Vampires are definitely going to look in their favor as long as Fur Hires didn't draw 2 monsters to make a Borolo itself. And yeah, I don't think it did, or it wouldn't be taking this long. So it looks like I'm going to go ahead and set a card face down and then pass my turn back to Z-Man. Or am I going to pass my turn? I'm trying to figure out what I can do. Oh, another thing I actually want to talk to you guys about is that I actually did draw a monster. Now, here's the crazy thing. If I would have put the token under Sendeyu, I still would have had a game, because I would have been able to summon a monster, make Underclock Taker to reduce the Raphael to give my token monster more attack than the Borolo, and we would have been in there. Like, it would have been that great. I would have been able to break his board. I'm just sitting there like, oh my God. And the fact that I didn't draw an Earth for Hire, because if I drew an Earth for Hire, I could have summoned it, used the Sendeyu in the Earth for Hire to make Mrs. Radiant, and it would have been strong enough. Well, no, it wouldn't have been strong enough because Borolo does have an attack to reduce by 5, but at least I would have been able to do that. But still, a huge mistake on monster placement. So Fur Hire still had an opportunity to break this board. Even without it, Borolo's Dragon's going to attack into the token, and he's going to go ahead and pass his turn, and that is game, folks. It's really crazy how these games pan out. Sometimes one little mistake can cost you it. Really awesome to see this game, and I hope you guys enjoyed this game. Go ahead and drop a like if you guys did. Let us know in the comment section, what game do you guys want to see? I have a spicy, when I mean a spicy dinosaur or Shadow Dinosaur versus Goki game. It's really spicy. So go ahead and let's see if this video can get 200 likes, and I'll be able to drop that, guys, for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you when I stream tomorrow. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day like I am.